Welcome to Science students watching. We're going to begin singing the bone song we learned in our last lesson. Stand and let's start together, starting with our skull. Ready? Begin. Skull, clavicle, scapula, humerus, sternum, ribs, vertebrae, phalanges, pelvis, femur, patella, phalanges. These are the bones of my body. Be seated. How many bones do you have in your entire skeletal system, Asa?
206.
You do have 206. Well done. What do we call just one of the bones in your backbone, Morgan?
Scapula.
No. Madison? Jimmy?
Vertebrae.
That would be all of them.
Vertebrae.
Vertebra would be just one. How many do you have in your entire backbone, Madison? Help her out. Tyra? That's in your entire skeletal system, but just your backbone. How many, Una?
33.
33. What was that, Madison, Tyra?
33.
Good. We're going to talk more about the bones in our body and how they're connected. So let's take a look at some things as we read today. We're going to talk about the connection. So we know that our bones help protect our body, help hold it up, but they need to be connected together, and they're connected here. Aiden.
Joint.
Yes, and this is another name for the hip bone. Carly.
Pelvis.
Good, and this is another connection. Jimmy. Sure, I. And banana.
Ligament.
Yes, ligament. Class repeat.
Ligament.
Good, and here are some more bones, specific bones that we'll talk about. This one is your leg bone. Una?
Femur.
Good. These are your finger and toe bones. Madison?
Phalange.
Yes. Kneecap. Morgan?
Patella.
You've got it. And here we have our shoulder blade. Anna?
Scapula.
Good. Read our next word. This is taking a look inside of our bones. Asa?
Marrow.
Yes. And another specific bone. Emily?
Humerus.
Yes. Now the word humerus means funny, and sometimes the humerus is called your funny bone because if you hit it, it has a funny feeling. Not necessarily because it makes you want to feel like you want to laugh, but because it gives you a funny feeling. So sometimes that bone is called the funny bone, or the humerus is its other name. This is an ingredient found inside of your bones. Read it for us, Caden.
Calicum.
Cal is right. The next C says in city.
Cum.
The next C says in city.
Calcium.
Cal is the first syllable. Try the second.
Calcium.
Say it with me. Cal. C. Cal. C. Say it with me.
Calcium.
Yes, calcium is an ingredient or a nutrient that helps make your bones strong. We're going to read more about the bones connections, some of the specific bones, and then we'll take a look inside our bones to see what our bones are made of. We're starting on page 311. Page 311. Our first reader comes to read the terms to remember for us, Gage.
Terms to remember. Joint. A place where two bones join to help your body blend.
Try that part again. Start with joint.
Joint. A place where two bones join to help your body blend.
No, your body.
Bend?
Yes, to bend. Continue with our next word.
Ligaments?
Yes.
Ligaments. A strong, stretchy band that holds bones together to form a joint.
Let's read about how they do so, Jackson.
Think of all the places your body can blend.
Try that sentence
Bend.
again. Thank you.
if you flex your fingers up and down, you will see them bend in 3 places. When you stand or sit down, you are using your knees to bend. Playing basketball would be impossible if you could not bend at your elbows. The place where 2 bones join together to help your body bend are called joints.
Read that last word again.
Called joints.
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 Yes, now let's pause. So we're thinking about the places where they're connected together. The place where they come together is called a joint. You have several joints. The reason you have joints is to be able to bend. If you didn't have joints, you would be stiff. You would be straight up and down. But having joints allows us to bend. It allows us to move. It allows us to do things like play basketball, play baseball, play soccer, play volleyball, play our favorite sport. So with our joints, we're able to move and bend and play these enjoyable sports. God gave us that ability through the joints where the bones meet and these places join together. There's another connection that's important here where the joints are. So let's read about it. Continue reading for us. Joints are connected by ligaments.
Joints are connected by ligaments. A ligament is a strong, stretchy band that holds bones together to form a joint. The joints of your finger and toe bones like a hinge.
Start again. The bones, the joints.
The joints of your finger and toe bones work like a
You're right.
hinge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the names of these bones? Finger bones and toe bones are phalanges.
All right, let's pause. Let's take a look at the picture here. You see a joint. You see that the joints, inside of that joint, there are ligaments. And you see that there are some finger joints. We have some joints in our wrist. Take a look at the elbow joint. There you see that ligament that connects the bone, or the muscle rather, to the bone. So that's very important because the muscle helps the bone to move, and that ligament helps that connection to be firm and solid there. So you have phalanges, your finger and toe bones, which contain many joints and many ligaments, and then you have joints and ligaments throughout the rest of your connections between your bones as well. Let's read more about these specific types of bones. Continue reading the structure of your hand.
The structure of your hand bones is wonderfully designed that you are able to do many
Sure, I.
Intricate.
Yes.
Intricate things. You can write, draw, play, and instrument with pitch, a baseball, a type on a keyboard, complete an art or craft project, and so much more.
Way to add expression. Pause. How many of you play an instrument? Give me a big smile. How many of you play a sport? Give me a big smile. How many of you love to draw and do arts and crafts? Give me a big smile. Oh, I see lots of smiles. Looks like you are very creative as well, students watching. All of these things we're able to do through the joints and ligaments that God has given us. Now, there are a couple of different types of joints and ligaments. One is called a ball and socket joint because it can move in many directions. Your shoulder joint and your hip joint are an example of those. It's almost as if there's a ball and then there's a curved part. That's the socket where they fit together. And the ball is able to move and turn and bend. That's one type of joint that you have in your body. Another is a hinge. It swings back and forth in one way like a door. So examples of those would be your knee joints, your elbow joints, and your fingers. Then you have a pivot joint which can rotate. An example of that would be your neck. All of these are wonderfully created by our master designer. Continue reading. As you can see,
God created you to be active. You are able to enjoy many activities because of His design for your body. How can you use your hands and feet to serve Him?
And let's pause. Read what the Bible says for us. For we are His workmanship.
For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, unto good works, which God hath before ordained,
Long A. Ordained.
That we should walk in them. Ephesians 2:10.
So pause. God is the one who created us. He made our bodies fearfully and wonderfully. What are we doing to serve him? Think carefully about your actions. God loves you. He created you. We, as his wonderful creation, should serve our creator. So think carefully about what your hands do. Are they kind? Do they do your work well? Do they do your schoolwork well? What about your feet? Are you kind with your feet? They take you to good places? Use your body for things that honor and glorify God. Work and serve your creator. Let's take a look at the next page with Think About It. Continue reading for us.
Think about it. Point to the places in your body in which you are able to bend. Can you remember the names of the bones that connect to make these joints? Your scapula connects to your humerus to help your shoulder move. Your pelvis connects to your femur to help your leg and hip move. You can find your patella or kneecap at your knee joint. It has an important job in helping your leg bones form a strong joint.
Pause. Let's talk about these connections. So you have your scapula. Put your hand on your scapula. Then point to your humerus. These connect so that your shoulder is able to move. Put your hand on your hip or your pelvis. Now touch your femur. Between these two bones, you have another joint that helps your hip and your leg to move so that you can walk. Now find your kneecap or your patella. Here, this joint enables your legs to bend so that you can run and move and kick and do all kinds of fun sports activities. So God enabled each of these joints to help with that movement. Take out a pencil. Let's take a look at our comprehension check. We're going to label our skeleton together. Number 1 is pointing to the what, students watching? Dev?
Skull.
The skull is right. Number 2 is pointing to what? This is your shoulder blade. Una?
Humerus.
No. It's your shoulder blade. It's in the back.
Scapula.
Yes, your scapula. The S for scapula and the S for shoulder blade can help you remember that. That's a triangular shaped bone in the back, your shoulder blade. Number 3 is pointing to your collarbone, which is what, Jimmy?
Clavicle.
Your clavicle, well done. Number 4 is pointing to the bone in front. What is number 4? Tyra?
Humerus.
Say it again.
Humerus.
No, not quite. Madison?
Sternum.
Yes, it is the sternum. Number 5 is the funny bone. What is our funny bone? Jackson?
Humerus.
Humerus is correct. Number 6 protects your heart and lungs. What is that, Caden?
Ribs.
Yes, your ribs. Number 7 is your backbone. What is your another name for your backbone? Adriana?
Vertebrae.
Yes, the vertebrae. Well done. Number 8 are your finger and your toe bones, both your fingers and your toe bones. Aiden?
Phalanges.
Phalanges is correct. Number 9 is your hip bone. Your hip bone. Presley?
Pelvis.
Good. Number 10 is your leg bone. Your leg bone, Morgan.
Femur.
Your femur. And number 11 is your kneecap. Dev?
Patella.
Patella, good. Number 12 is specifically your toe bones, which is also the same name as your finger bones. Kathleen?
Phalanges.
Phalanges, well done. Now let's take a look at the top of the next page. Pause. Pencils down. Let's read about inside of our bone. What is inside your bones? Continue reading there for us. Fun facts.
Did you know your bones are not completely solid? They are hollow in the middle.
Their design actually gives them more strength. Spongy bone is under your hard bone. At the very center of your bone is bone marrow. Bone marrow is a jelly-like texture and has the very important job of making your body's red and white blood cells. It also stores minerals such as calcium.
Yes, now pause. Let's take a look at the picture here. If we were to pull back the layers inside of a bone, you would be able to see the different layers here. There's spongy bone on the inside. There's the harder bone on the outside. In the very center, you have nerves and blood vessels and bone marrow. Why are your bones hollow in the middle, do you think? Students watching? Deb. It gives them more what?
Gives them more
Josh?
strength.
Yes, more strength, right. It makes your bones stronger. It also provides a lighter weight to that strength. If your bones were solid, it would be very heavy, and it would require a lot of muscle to move all of those bones. But it gives it extra strength and still being able to be light enough to provide good movement. What is the jelly-like middle part of your bone? Carson?
Bone marrow.
Good. What does the bone marrow do, students watching? Kaden?
It makes more blood cells such as calcium.
Well, it makes your body's blood cells, the red and white blood cells, and then it stores minerals like calcium. It holds on to that so that it can make your bones strong. Now take out your pencil. Let's look at our comprehension check at the bottom of this page. We're going to match the part of the skeletal system with its description. The clavicle is also known as the what, Asa? Deb?
Upper arm bone.
No. The C could help you remember this. Adriana?
Collarbone.
Collarbone. C for collarbone, C for clavicle. The femur is known as your what, Jacob?
Funny bone.
No. Emily? Deb?
Your leg, thigh bone.
Yes, your leg or your thigh bone. Your patella is your what, Jacob?
Kneecap.
Your kneecap. Your humerus is where? Kaden?
Upper arm bone.
You've got it. A joint is what, Madison? Can you find what a joint is? Keep reading through them. Yuna?
Two bones that work together to make your body bend.
You've got it. And then a ligament is what? Jimmy?
Brace bone.
No. Morgan?
Band.
Yes, it is the stretchy band that connects the bones to form a joint. It also attaches the muscle to the bone. Phalanges are what, Madison?
Finger and toe bone.
Yes, finger and toe bones. And your sternum is what, Aiden? It's in the very center. Calls your? Morgan?
Breastbone.
Yes, exactly correct. So that's another name for the sternum. What other bone is called your breastbone? Aiden? Morgan? It's the one we just said together. Kaden?
Sternum.
Yes, the sternum. Morgan, Aiden?
Sternum.
It is the sternum. Readers, you may return to your seat. Let's have our girls line up. And you may quietly close your books, set them to the side. Then boys, you may quietly line up. We're going to play a couple rounds of tic-tac-toe to see how many points the girls can score and how many points the boys can score. We'll see if we can remember our terms accurately and quickly. So Adriana, come keep score for the girls. Jimmy, come keep score for the boys. And we'll see. Girls are on soccer balls, and then boys are on the football. Students watching, you keep track of how many questions you get correct, and you see if you can beat our contestant. So first two, you can step to the middle. What do we call the system of bones that makes blood cells and stores minerals? Students watching? It is the skeletal system. No points here. Next two. The body's framework of bones is called the?
Skeletal system.
Okay, part of that, more specifically, is just the skeleton. No points here. Next two. How many bones do you have in your entire body?
206.
Girls, next two. Tell me the bones that make the backbone and protect your spinal cord. Students watching?
33.
It is the vertebrae. No points here. How many bones make up your vertebrae?
33.
Girls have it. Next two. What is one bone in your backbone called?
Vertebrae.
Boys have it. Next two. What is a cage designed to protect important organs?
Ribcage.
Girls have it. Next two. The breastbone contains your ribs is called, or that connects to your ribs is called the
Joint.
Students watching? It is the sternum. No points here. Next two. Another name for your collarbone. Students watching? Clavicle. No points here. Next two. What bone protects your brain?
Your skull.
Tie. New question. What is the place where two bones join to help your body bend?
Joint.
Yes. Join, joint. Take that hint. So boys have it. Next two. What is the strong, stretchy band that holds bones together to form a joint?
Limit.
Yes, a ligament. Boys have it. Next two. Fingers and toe bones are called the?
Phalange.
Girls have it. Next two. Reviewing some things we've learned from previous lessons. What word means to breathe in? In.
Inhale.
Girls have it. Inhale. Well done. Next two. What word means to breathe out?
Exhale.
Boys have it. Next two. How many lungs do you have?
2.
Tie. Let's break that tie. Thinking of the two parts to the tooth, which one is the top part?
Crown.
Girls have it. Next two. Thinking of the coverings for our teeth, what is the strong, hard covering for our teeth?
Enamel.
Enamel is correct. Boys have it. Next two. What are the organs that work together to change food into a form that your body can use?
Saliva.
Students watching? It is the digestive system. No points here. Next two. Saliva softens your food, making it easier to do what?
Chew.
Girls have it. Next two. Food travels down your esophagus to your what? Stomach. Girls have it. Next two. What closes when you swallow? No. Students watching? Windpipe. No points here. Next two. Last question. What is an organ designed to pump blood?
Heart.
Yes. Boys have it. Let's pause. Girls, return to your seat. Let's see how many points we have. One for the boys, two for the girls. Girls are winners today. Girls, give yourself a pat on the back. Then, students watching, how many points did you get? How many questions did you get correct? I like how you're remembering the facts we've learned so far. Before ending our lesson, let's do our bone song again. So stand, and let's start with our skull. Ready, begin? Skull, clavicle, scapula, humerus, sternum, ribs, vertebrae, phalanges, pelvis, femur, patella, phalanges. These are the bones of my body. Well done. Continue to review the bones so that you'll be ready for our next lesson.